Hello, and welcome to an episode of ES Repair. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the new software by AOMEI technology called Data Backupper. Now, it's a straightforward backup software, and I'm going to show you how to use the different features of it. Let me get it started. When you start the program, it'll bring you up to this window, and as you can see, you can has that little note pinned up there to create a new backup. Now, before we get started, let me give you a rundown of the settings and stuff. You go to the top and click Settings. You'll bring up this little window. Now, these are for your default settings, and you can choose. Like for compression, you can choose no compression, normal compression, which is moderately compressed, or you can choose high compression, which is maximum data compression. However, it will take the longest time to create a backup. But if you have free space issues, then it'd be recommended to use the high compression. If you do not have free space issues, then you go ahead and use either none or normal. Another thing we can work with is splitting. You can either use it for automatic. You can choose a custom size that you want it to split your backup. You can choose a predetermined size. And all of these are in megabytes. You choose custom size. You choose whatever size you want in megabytes. If you choose predetermined size, you can choose different CD capacities. You can choose FAT32s, which are like 4 gigabytes. You can do DVD drives, even zip drives that you can choose from. Intelligence sector, this comes in handy because intelligence sector only backs up data that's being used, or in this case, sectors. If sectors contain data that's being used, then it will back them up. If it comes across data that's been marked for deletion, or it's free space, in other words, then the intelligence sector backup function will skip over those. This will help increase your or decrease your backup time. If you make an exact backup, then the software will make an exact copy sector by sector. It don't matter if it's being used or if it's not being used, it will back it up. So in other words, you're going to be backing up free space. The other function that you're going to have is VSS. If you've ever done a system restore using Windows System Restore function, you may have come across this before. It's known as a Volume Snapshot Service, VSS. And what this does is allows the software to back up your hard drive and your files without any interruptions to the program. It kind of works in the background. You can choose to use it or not. It's up to you. But they do highly recommend that you use VSS. Now, if you need help, you click on the help. You have tutorials like the one I'm doing here. It does also have an online help if you need help with anything. Of course, it does have your technical support if you need any. You can have it checked for updates. This is a new software. This is version 1. So you may want to periodically check, so in case there's bug fixes that that you need to update, then you can check for updates. If you check out the About, it will give you a website, the main website, and it will give you an email for tech support if you need the assistance or have any questions about the software. If you click freeware, it will bring you to their site for free software that they offer. One of them being the Partition Assistant Home Edition that I have recently done the tutorials for. Now, once I give you the the rundown, you'll see that it's got the Create New Backup. We'll click on that. You'll also notice it also brings you to the tab. Now, you got three choices. You can either back up an entire disk, or a single partition, or you can back up your operating system. Now, to do disk backup, you click on that. It'll bring you to this window. And what you can do is, it gives you a default name which says disk backup. You can use that, or you can use any name you choose. I'm going to change it to ES Repair Demo. And then down here, we're going to select the disks. Now, you can select all the disks that you want to back up. And as you can see here, I could choose this one, this one, this one, this one. I could choose all of them if I want to do a complete backup. Now, keep in mind, it may take some time. Well, let me clear those out. We'll do this one, and then choose Add. Now, it gives you the list of the disks that you're going to back up. It gives you the capacity of the drive, and it gives you how much space is used on it, which in this case it's just over 32 1/3 gigabytes. Now, if you click Add, it'll bring you back to this window, and you can choose other disks that you want to back up. And you have a scroll here, so you can scroll down the whole list, and then select the ones you want, and then choose Add. And it will list them all here. Next step will be number 2. Now we're going to tell the software where to store this backup. Now, I'm going to use this folder here, which is backup. This is where I store a lot of my backups in. And then come down here and then select folder. Now, it will list it as the backup. It shows you the path to where it's going to store it. Now, under backup options, you'll notice that there's one thing that's different. Under your default settings up here at the top, you'll notice you had the compression, encryption, splitting, intelligent sector, VSS. There's 2 things on here. Here, which is comment, you can add a comment to the backup. I'm going to write ES Repair Demo. And then I can know exactly what this backup was for. Now, you could write it like it says, full backup of system partition. You could write anything in the comments to help you identify as to what was in the backup. Another thing that we can do that's been added is encryption. The encryption allows you to protect the backup. And if you check this over here, then you can type in a password and then confirm the password, and then that backup that you generated will be protected. In order to access it, though, you will need to know the password. Otherwise, you will not be able to restore the backup. So keep that in mind. And that's the 2 extra functions that you have for the specific backup. Up here, you have just the defaults that you can adjust. And then under backup options, you can add a comment or encryption. For comment, I need to put that back up there. ES repair demo. And then when you put your comments in here, choose OK. And now it's attached to the backup. The next thing you need to do is choose Start Backup. Now it does provide another function which will come in handy, especially when it comes to backing up. It gives you the progress bar, shows you how far along it is. It gives you detailed information to what it's doing, and down here at the bottom it shows you how much it has processed out of the total amount selected. Now the function you'll like is, especially if you know it's going to take a while, you can have this do it overnight while you're sleeping. You can have it select shut down computer after completing the operation. What this will do is when the backup procedure is complete, it will automatically shut down your computer. Now when it's finished, it'll say that the operation has been completed successfully, and all you need to do is click finish. Now if you did check the shut down computer after completing the operation, then it will automatically have shut down your computer for you. So let me go ahead and click finish. Once you click finish, or you restart the computer and come back to the software, you'll notice that it opens to your home tab as it does here. Now you have choices. You can create a new backup. You can also change the listings of the backups. You can choose all backups, daily backups, weekly backups, monthly backups, or you can choose a date range using custom date to list certain backups during a specific date range. Now here I've only got one listed. This is the one that we created in this tutorial. We will have some other tutorials for restore, cloning, and the use of these other utilities. As you can see here, it's listing this backup, and it also gives you three choices for the backup. You can choose restore, and as this will bring you down to the restore tab, and I'll explain that into another tutorial. You also have a backup. Now you can back up onto an existing backup such as this one. Now when you click on backup, it'll give you three choices. The full backup is similar as to what we just performed. You back up everything, and what it is it backs up regardless of changes. If the file hasn't changed, then it's like creating a whole new backup. You're going to back it up regardless. Now the next two can be confusing. Incremental backups are usually performed on a daily basis. Now what surprises me about the software is it don't have a schedule or a scheduling software to this, to where you can automatically set the scheduling as to how often the software backs up your data. But they'll probably come out with that in later versions. Like I said, this is a brand new software, so I'm sure they're going to add it to it in later versions. Incremental backup and differential backup are basically the same thing, except their techniques. They back up data differently. Both of them will back up data, and only data that has changed since the last backup. What sets them apart is how they do it. Incremental backup will back up your data and any data that has changed since its last backup, whether it's a full backup or an incremental backup. Meaning if this backup here, if I back it up again tomorrow, I can use incremental backup. And then the next day, I can use incremental backup. Now, on the third day, if I use the incremental backup, what happens is it will only fall back to the previous incremental backup, which was day number 2. This is only how far it goes back. Now, the result for doing this is much smaller and it's a faster backup. Now, it has shorter time intervals between backups and you have less data to be backed up. Now, the differential backup is a little bit different. For instance, if you use differential backup, then it backs up from the last full backup. So if you back this up today, and then you back it up again tomorrow, which would be day 2, and then you backed it up again on day 3, well, what happens is, unlike incremental backup, which went back to the previous the previous day, which was day 2, in differential backup, it goes back to the day 1. See what I'm saying? I hope I'm not confusing anybody. Incremental backup, if it goes for day 1, day 2, and day 3, well, day 3 will go back to day 2 and start from there. Whereas differential backup on day 3 would have to start all the way back from the last full backup. This is what sets them apart. Now, differential backups, they're quicker than the full backups, but because there's so much less data is being backed up. However, the amount of data being backed up grows with each differential backup until you have your next full backup. Now, the differential backups are more flexible, and this is pretty much what sets them apart. Now, you can choose whichever you want. Differential backups do create bigger backup files. Incremental backups, they back up from the previous or the most recent backup that was performed, whether it was a full backup or incremental. Now, what sets this one apart is that differential backups, it doesn't have to reconstruct as much of the backup file as would an incremental backup. An incremental backup has to go back to the full backup and then reconstruct and reconstitute all the incremental changes or backups since then up to the point it's being restored. So you can see there's advantages and disadvantages between the two, and all you have to do is click one and the software will do the rest. Now, the next thing you have is advanced. You can delete the backup. You can check the image, or in other words, you're checking the backup. What this does is checks the integrity of the image file to make sure everything's okay. You can explore the image, which you can actually open the image up, look through it to see if there's a particular file that you're looking for without actually restoring it. You have the locate image, which all it does is brings you up, opens the folder to where the backup file is located. The other part is properties. Now under here it lists your comments that if you added any to it. It also gives the task name or the file name, the date that it was created, and the time, and the last backup time. Now this will refer to any differential and incremental backups that you did, and this will show the last time one was performed. And again, it will also show the path to where the file is located. Now versions will list all the backups that this file contains. Right now it's only going to list one, the full backup, which is the original. Now any differential or incremental backups performed will be in this list, and it will show you the date and the time that those were created. And it also show you where the path or the location of the files are. Now the disk map, all this will show is all the partitions or disks, whichever backup you choose. It will show everything that's contained in this backup file. Choose OK, and that's basically all there is. Now I will show you the other the utilities and stuff and the restore functions, but you know, you got all your stuff here to create your backup. Well, I'm your host, Mr. Fix-It. I've demonstrated how to create your first backup using this software, and all you have to do is check for incremental or differential if you want to add stuff to that current backup. I'm your host, Mr. Fix-It. Thank you for watching.